Thank you for joining us on today's episode of Tax Matters. How was the Easter holiday? It has been a double season of self-denial this past few weeks, and we pray that Almighty God will reward us all for the sacrifices that we have made. Last episode, we had as guest on the program Mr. Muhammad Mamaname, and the purpose was simple. FIRS, the journey so far. You'll recall that Mr. Name mounted the saddle at the FIRS in December 2019. In the 2 years, 4 months of his tenure, so many positive things have happened. Among other things, there has been a positive variance in revenue earnings from indirect taxes over and above direct taxes. There is also the introduction of the homemade, home-developed tax administration solution, Tax Pro Max. Tax Pro Max has taken assessment, collection and accounting for taxes to a higher level. It was at the point when Mr. Nami was talking about Tax Pro Max that we rounded off the first installment of the exclusive interview. Mr. Nami is still with us on this episode, and we begin today's offering with yet another achievement, the positive variance of non-oil taxes over and above oil taxes.
I'm a very busy man. My business involves a lot of traveling and I interface with lots and lots of people and organizations. Tax compliance used to be a big drag on my business. It was time consuming and very costly. But now, no more. Introducing the FIRS Tax Pro Max, the truly fully end-to-end tax administration solution for companies' income tax, value-added tax, petroleum profits tax, and all other tax types. For fast, efficient, and convenient end-to-end tax experience, log on to www.taxpromax.firs.gov.ng. Tax Pro Max has turned things around for me. It is fast, user-friendly, and cost-effective. FIRS, making tax administration as easy as ABC.
Executive Chairman, sir, welcome once again.
Thank you.
Now, in the last few years, the federal government has been expressing its desire for higher yield from non-oil taxes over and above oil taxes. Now, how far have we moved in that direction?
If you remember the answers I gave to your earlier question, before now, our total collection in FIRS used to be 60-40 oil and non-oil collection. But as it is today, we're talking of collection that is about 70-30 non-oil and oil collection. We are not trying to say the oil sector collection is not good, and we're not trying to say the companies in the oil and gas sector are not paying taxes. But what we are saying, because of the technology we are deploying, because of government resolution to diversify its economy, because of the investment we have done in human beings, the capacities that we have built surrounding the assessment and collection of taxes in non-oil taxes, and the fact that we have also invested in technology, we are now able to bring in people that are hitherto not known to the tax system to tax need. So with that, last year alone, we collected 4,396 billion as non-oil revenue, as against 2 trillion that we collected in the oil and gas sector. So this is the story so far. And I think just like the government will always tell Nigerians, the economy is gradually being diversified. The engine room is still the oil, because that is where we get our foreign currency. But those that are making money from the oil sector and are investing in non-oil sector are actually now being brought to book, and taxes are being paid from the profit and services that they render to their customers.
So let's take a peep into the future. Now, in the course of your presentation at the corporate retreat, you reiterated that the federal government has set a target of 10.4 trillion naira for the service. Now, are you confident of success this year?
I think the first thing I would do is to increase my assessment to tax matter team by 1,000%, so that when you pay, you will now be able to help me educate the Nigerians to pay their taxes as and when due. That is on a lighter note. We are confident that we'll do better than we did in the year 2021 under review. This is because, one, the direct taxes we collected last year, e.g. the company income tax or the petroleum profit taxes, were based on result of companies for the year 2020, which was characterized by serious impact of COVID-19. Between 4 to 5 months, the entire country was under care and lock. People did not go to work, be it public or private business. The overall effect of that is that a lot of companies in the year 2021 returned lost position to FIRS in the course of filing their returns for 2020 operation. So one of the good things we think will happen that may support or that should ordinarily support us this year is that those companies operated for 12 months in the year 2021. So we are confident when they file their returns this year, we are going to be able to collect more of direct taxes from them. That is one. Number two, year in, year out, we have seen progression in the amounts we collect as indirect taxes. People now use banking platforms for purpose of transferring money. People now spend more electronically, and we also are responding using technologies to be able to have access to these transactions. So we are confident also the indirect taxes, particularly the electronic money transfer levy or the stamp duty, whichever you call it, and the value-added tax are likely to double. Even if they don't double, we are expecting at least 50% increase, so that we are able to move from the position of 2 trillion to probably 3 trillion this year. If we are also able to do the necessary deployment of technology, and with support of the Central Bank of Nigeria, issuing appropriate guidelines and regulations to the financial institutions, and every dutiable transaction suffers the appropriate stamp duty, or appropriate stamp duty is paid on the dutiable transaction, and electronic money transfer levy is deducted and remitted by all commercial banks in Nigeria. We are also likely to see the figures doubling. I'm very confident about that in the electronic money transfer levy collection that we are going to have. So we look at that, then look at the fact that the companies that declared loss in 2020 are already declaring profit for 2021 if we are lucky, and our staff continue to support the government, and the government itself continue to support us, particularly the subnationals. If they stop distracting us, I can assure you we are going to be able to generate that 10 trillion and going from doing better than even that in the years to come.
Of course, we have confidence in the system.
Yeah.
Let's look at Finance Acts of 3 years, of the last 3 years. How helpful have they been in the areas of tax administration and revenue collection?
We cannot enumerate the support that we have gotten or the impact that has happened to tax administration as a result of this yearly review of our tax law through the Finance Act. What impact has these annual reviews on our tax administration processes? One, you were there before operating manually, while the business environment was operating using technology. Then they now gave you power, certainly through the amendment of Section 25 of our Establishment Act, that we can deploy technology for purpose of tax administration. So the instrument given to me now is that when company A or B has technology that my manual process cannot actually monitor for purpose of police, for purpose of tax assessment, I've been given the power also now to deploy that technology to match that strength. That is the first thing that has done for us. Number two, with the same process, I'm able to bring into TaxNet more taxpayers that ordinarily should have been in the TaxNet that are not there. So with this, tax payment continue to increase. With this support, tax compliance is becoming easier. With this support, tax receipting, tax clearance processing, auditing, investigation are becoming much more easier because taxpayers are not necessarily required to be with us for them to be able to reconcile their accounts, reconcile their audit findings, or make tax payment. So that is the first thing that Finance Act has done for us. Number two, we have couple or pockets of ministry, department, and agencies who feel they also are revenue generating agencies. Some of them are supposed to be facilitating certain processes in certain sectors. All of a sudden, they feel their primary mandate should be the secondary mandate. They abandon their primary mandate and take up the secondary mandate and try to do the work that the person who should actually do the secondary mandate as their own primary mandate. So what the Finance Act has been able to do is to now say, okay, we cannot, because we want to ensure ease of doing business, we do not want to punish taxpayers, because if agency one will be in a taxpayer's office today, the federal inland revenue is there tomorrow, the state internal revenue is there a day after, then another agency of government will go the fourth day, and probably the fifth day, so the whole week. What the business owners do is to attend to issues of taxes by multiple tax agencies, even the ones, quote and unquote, that have not got the primary responsibility to administer taxes in Nigeria. So what they have done, we have been able to achieve, or what Finance has been able to achieve, is to pronounce Federal Inland Revenue Service as the sole agency of government at the center that has the primary responsibility for assessment, collection, and where necessary enforce and account for taxes. But what we have done is that we also feel it is necessary to collaborate with those agencies, particularly the security agencies, e.g. the EFCC, the DSS, the Nigerian police, because there are taxpayers that we call recalcitrant, those that will make money or make profit in the ordinary course of their operation and refuse to pay tax on them, and also deduct indirect taxes from their service providers, e.g. withholding tax and value-added tax, and still refusing to remit. So when you have situations like that, you need the collaboration of those other agencies so that we enforce those payments. And that is why even when we are declared or we are pronounced the sole tax administration agency of government at the center, we still feel collaborating with other agencies is key for us to be able to achieve our mandate.
The Finance Act 2019 introduced a provision whereby companies with turnover below 25 million naira are exempted from paying companies' income tax, that is, zero companies' income tax. Those with turnover between 25 million naira and 100 million naira are to pay companies' income tax at 20%. Of course, the big boys remain at 30%. By that same token, companies with turnover below 25 million naira were and are still exempted from collecting, filing, and remitting VAT. We got the chairman to give an update on this.
Now, Executive Chairman, sir, I would like to know if you've experienced any challenges arising from the implementation of the provisions contained in the various finance acts. In this regard, we want to know if business owners are not breaking up companies or hiding income in a bid to take advantage of the 25 million naira threshold for small companies.
Well, that has been a big problem, but it's not much a thing to worry about, because I just stated now that as we move on in life, we identify gaps in the tax law on a yearly basis. And as we move on, we suggest ways for which those gaps will be closed. So these are temporary gaps that we are thinking of several options. But to remind you that globally, it's the best practice that you provide threshold for small and micro business or enterprises, that when you are at this particular threshold, you don't pay taxes. The essence is not to give them money for free. What we're only saying, the government is only saying is that this profit that you've made, return it to your business. One, so that you are able to continue to remain afloat. Two, you are able to pay your salaries as and when due. Three, if you have borrowed money from the banks, you do not go bankrupt, even at the point of trying to come up. Four, so that you grow and become future taxpayers in the future, taxpayer in the future. This is the idea behind it. But you know, like I said, our own is a very difficult terrain. People are capitalizing on that. But like I said, we will do something to make sure that we close that gap. But the second thing for you not to worry about is that before now, over 80% of taxes paid in Nigeria were paid by the large taxpayers in Nigeria. About 15% paid by the medium taxpayers, and less than 2% come from these small businesses. So with the technology we are deploying, some of them that are claiming to be small, we are able to identify that they're actually not small, and we are bringing them to TaxNet. So those that we are bringing to TaxNet, the 2% that are hitherto paid by those other small companies, in practical terms, they are paying for them. And with also technology, those that we are not paying at all, we are bringing them to TaxNet. So it is a win-win situation. They are able to do aggressive tax planning. We are able to also change our laws on a year basis, and we are better for it. And we want to believe, just in a not distant time, we should also be able to block that gap. But we are not going to stop giving incentive to those that deserve it.
All right, sir. Now, still on threshold, how do you intend to ensure that company owners don't take advantage of the 100 million naira threshold for the Naseni levy?
Well, it's all about your turnover. And like I said, we've deployed technology. You cannot understand your turnover only because you do not want to pay an outstanding debt, which is a stipend from your profit. I want to believe that will not be much a challenge.
Now you are the chairman of the Joint Tax Board. We would like to know what you are doing at the subnational levels to ensure that we get the high net worth individuals and also taxpayers who are not in the tax net into the tax net.
Well, thank you very much. That comes down to also issue of technology, but in a different time. During our 147th Joint Task Board meeting in Kaduna, which you were all there, we came to a conclusion that the best way to do it, one, was to deploy technology. Even Governor Rufai, who spoke during the ceremony, acknowledged that. And that is the simple magic that they have performed in Kaduna, that they'll be able to move their annual collection from a stipend of about 13 billion to over 60 billion last year. The key thing is technology. And how do we want to do that? We resolve to collaborate with the Nigeria Identity Management Commission so that we use their database and through a concept we call data for tax initiative, so that if Amaka buys a car, she has a unique identifier called NIM. She must be asked to disclose her NIM. If she's opening a bank account, the same number. When she's going for international passport, the same number. When she's paying her school fees or the school fees of her brothers and sisters, she uses the same number. When she's acquiring land, she uses the same number. When you are investing in stocks, you use the same number. So when you have that, and you have just a unique identity, which we call digital identity. When I tap your name and your name number, everything about you comes up. When you buy land, we see. When you sell it, we see. So the issue of net worth individuals that are trying to dodge taxes will soon come to an end. Second thing we want to advise them to do is to insist that everybody that wants to contest the election in the state should pay taxes as and when due, and based on verifiable records. We also want to appeal to the judiciary to support FIRS and Joint Task Board, because you do not expect Amaka, who wants to be chairman of a local government, but wants to be governor of a state, only turning up at that particular point in time to pay taxes in arrears. That is unpatriotic, and that person should not be trusted with taxpayers' money. Somebody who does not believe in a tax system, somebody who does not pay taxes before he contests or before he buys a form to contest the election, that person should not be allowed to contest public office in Nigeria. Above all, I want the subnationals to collaborate with agencies like Code of Conduct Bureau, because we are aware some people would declare they are worth 50 billion when they become CEOs of their state. And when you look at their tax clearance certificate, since they were born up to that and they've never declared asset worth £1 billion and for tax to be paid on it, that is already a gap. So let there be synergy between INEC, Code of Conduct, the judiciary, so that if these conditions are violated, even if somebody is already sitting as chairman of a state, of a local government, governor of a state, or president of the Federal Republic, that person should be asked to quit office. When we do that, there will be revenue everywhere at the subnationals, because there are rich men in Nigeria.
All right, sir. Now, finally, before we let you go, what are your plans for the areas of creating uniformity in tax administration?
It's all centered around that data for tax initiative, because what we want to do is that when that comes to a reality, it's a three-phase process. We're done with phase 1 and 2. The last one is the deployment of the technology. So by the end of this year, we're going to have a single technology which they will use the primary data, and FIRS uses the secondary data. The primary data is the NIN for the individual, the NIN numbers for the individual, and the secondary data is the one to be obtained by the companies, enterprises, and professional organizations, and ministry department and agencies. So the two of us leveraging on this data, I want to assure Nigerians that we'll move the tax to GDP not only to the 15%, which is the average in Africa, but to as high as 20 and 30% as obtainable in other jurisdictions.
Very tall ambition, and we do wish the FIRS the best of luck in this and in every regard. It is in our collective interest.
Executive Chairman, sir, thank you very much, and really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
That concludes this special and exclusive interview with the Executive Chairman FIRS, Mr. Muhammad Nami. Let us remind you that you have a direct link to the FIRS through the contact center. 247, you can reach out on the telephone lines and social media handles on your screen. Thank you for watching.